So tell us about, I mean, obviously the audience doesn't know this, but what was it, about a year ago? I
Yeah,
met you.
right before COVID.
Yep, just for COVID out by the Rabines. And when we were out there then, I feel like we were talking about the drone. So, tell us about the Civ drone. Obviously, we've got the Civ drone, the Civ Dot 4-wheel drive, the Civ Dot 2-wheel. So kind of just maybe tell us about the different products and what makes one kind of better for you than the other right now in simplicity
Yeah, actually, if you recall when you saw me back in Chicago, you saw the Civ Dot 6-wheel drive. That was like our first prototype
I did.
of Civ Dot, and actually that will probably be pretty good for landscaping because it's nice, small, and jumps around. But I'll tell you a bit about the background of the products and how we came up with the Civ Dot. And we'll start with Civ Drone. So Civ Drone was our first product. It's a heavy lifter drone that literally carries stakes and drills it in the ground. So you upload the same file that we spoke about, that CSV list of coordinates. Drone takes off, flies at about 12 feet, lands above the coordinates, gets from the GPS correction data where he's at. He has a compass. He knows where the north is. And imagine like a 3-axis machine, like a 3D printer with a drill on it. And it literally drills a stake into the ground. We actually load a stake from our magazine and drill it into the ground. So we started doing that on softer soils, but then customers said, we also have hard soils. How can you ensure that your plastic stake is going to drill through hard soils? So we developed an even more robust mechanism that has a pre-drill system with metal drill. And only then we take the plastic stake and drill it into the ground. We even penetrated asphalt, like serious rocks as well.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. But I'll tell you this, we've developed this great technology. We got to really, really high precision. We're talking about 1/2 inch accuracy. Sounds amazing, right, Joe?
Yeah, it does.
But then we started deploying this with customers in Japan, Israel, US. And we noticed something. All of our customers were afraid of this beast. They took a few steps back and they were very concerned about safety issues. Even though we haven't had any safety issue over 100 flights, that risk is really high and they don't want to take that risk. So
if you don't mind me asking, what are they worried about? Are they just worried about the propellers or just like that being open? Like what was the safety concern that they're worried? I'm just confused because I've seen drones operating around me all the time and I've never been that concerned about safety.
Yeah. So most drones that you've seen around you are probably, I would say probably DJI, Mavics, Phantom 4, small ones. Maybe the Matrice 600, that's like the largest one you've probably seen around you. Take the Matrice, double that size. So we're talking about like really large propellers. And that propeller is, if something happens, it can be bad. So
Okay.
that's one thing. And second, we fly pretty close to the ground. So I think that also has an effect on people. Most drones that you see are up in the sky, really high up. You don't really see them. You don't really hear them as much. So imagine that really close to the ground as well, because we don't need to fly that high if we're going to land every 30 seconds.
Yeah, you're right. It's a waste of energy to go up and back down.
Yeah. So we kind of I think those are the main two reasons that, because of the fact that the drone is closer to them, it's bigger, and, dealing with the logistics of drone technology and regulation, it's not that big of a deal if you do it once a week or once a month or whatever. But we're talking about every day having this system out there marking coordinates. So like every day they have to go through procedures and make sure everyone is aware of the drones up there. And I think that's more of a schlep as well for them, and they didn't want to deal with that. And when we first started deploying our technology in solar farms, we saw that the coordinates are really close to one another, like 20 feet. Mm-hmm. Safety there is not an issue because you're in the middle of nowhere usually. but they're 20 feet apart. Flying 20 feet, it's not a big deal. You know, why fly 20 feet? We can just drive that.
Yeah,
This is-
exactly. It takes a lot of time that you don't really need to take, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about wind, I'm sure, with the machine that drives too. So it sounds like you guys kind of made a perfect pivot where it's like, okay, we have this thing that's really cool. You look at it from the surface, everybody's going to want one. Safety concerns come up, and then like you just said, okay, so why can't we just bring the bot like we would bring the drone and let it drive on site? That sounds like the pivot, right?
Yeah. So that's the pivot that we've made. You know, what's the worst thing can happen? I think, Joe, you saw that. The ground robot will try to hump your leg. Like, that's it.
Yeah, we
Like-
saw that. It's kind of like an excited dog, no problem.
Yeah. That's the safety hazard of this ground robot. The drone safety hazard is propellers gonna cut your arm. So
By the way, it's important for everybody to know, I think the only reason you demonstrated that was you actually tried to demonstrate the worst thing that would happen. So I want to be clear, it doesn't just randomly come over and try to run up your leg. It was like to actually prove what it would do. I feel that I needed to make that clear to the people listening.
yeah.
So
And you know, another great benefit that we saw from switching from the air to the ground is, you know, just battery life. Moving a ground robot. Actually, we took 2 batteries from the drone, even though the drone had 4. So the drone had 4 batteries, and every hour we swap them out. The ground robot has 2, swap it out after 5 hours. So
yeah, that's the difference.
So huge difference for ops, convenient for the customer, and just trying to make that workflow as easy as possible for them.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a real great product. So I mean, what are your future plans for Civ then? Like what are your kind of market expansion or innovation ideas to really get this just to be the way that people lay out sites?
So we are in development of a next gen CivDot, which will include more features. You're talking about trees earlier, right? We also have this very similar problem with solar farms. There's a lot of different pile types, different colors. Why have one spray can on the robot when I have 4 of them, 5, 6?
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah.
So having different colors is one thing. We already have a solution that just uses software to determine, if you have a dominant color, let's say you have 100 points and 90 of them are red and the rest are like blue and yellow. So the red, we'll put the red spray can inside, just spray those out. And the yellow and blue, it will tell the operator, I am yellow before it continues to the next coordinate. And the operator just does that manually. But if you put multiple spray cans, you don't need that also. And last but not least, I think the next gen CivDot will also have, working on it, it'll be able to draw different shapes. So imagine a 3D printer on the ground robot as well. So it can literally draw, write stuff on it. And that's huge for road markings mainly, to be honest. So like doing the arrows of, before the intersection, that kind of stuff.